The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with sister Shemiza.
Good morning, and assalamu alaikum. It is at 10 o'clock, Monday, 24th of February, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on Where Else? The Urban Kube show, of course. We're going live and direct to all the wonderful people across Luton surrounding areas, and also live to our fabulous listeners in Sheffield and Link FM, and also Peterborough Salam Radio. So massive big salams to you, lovely lot. It's been a week and a half for many of us, and how are you feeling about sending your children back to school? Are you doing a bit of a jig wherever you are? Grateful that they're going back, or what was the experience like? Has it been full of joy? Or was it been a nightmare? Or has it been a nightmare? I don't know. I'd love to find out from you. The show itself is the Urban Kube you're listening into this morning with me, Shemiza, and we would love you to contribute to the show this morning with some great conversations around creativity and sustainability on the show this morning. I'm joined by two fantastic mumpreneurs. Yes, mumpreneurs. We're talking about motherhood and being an entrepreneur with two awesome mamas in the studio who are going to talk to me about their journey of work, motherhood and balancing the two. Now, a week off for many of us with our children. It has been the half-term week. I hope you're able to come back to some form of normality. Share with me your thoughts this morning. Is it a yay or nay for the children to go back? 07779 481822. Now, the show is live on Facebook this morning. You can actually see my lovely guests in the studio who are waving to the camera right now. You can also catch the show on the web, as well as catch it on the app. And it will be streamed back as well later on. And you've got the repeat of the show at 8 p.m. So there's no chance for you to miss the show. Now, I am sure you're curious to find out who my guests are on the show this morning. I am super duper delighted to be introducing two dynamic guests who are going to be talking about eco-modest fashion, as well as the first the Muslim Children's Book Festival. My kind of conversations are going to be happening on the show this morning, and I'm sure you're going to be inspired by these fabulous mumpreneurs. Starting off with a very fabulous Saima Siddiqui. Now, Saima Siddiqui is talking to me about eco-modest fashion. She's completed her MBA and went on to establish her own company in 2019. It's one of the first online eco-conscious modest wear brands. It has since been shortlisted. She has been since shortlisted as a finalist for Islam Channel Startup Business of the Year Award. Now, she lives in London with her husband and a 2-year-old son, and she's currently working with Lauren Booth on a podcast called Tayyib Way, discussing the Islamic responsibility of protecting our environment. She also volunteers for Islamic Relief and is the international head of design for Charity Week, which is a student-led fundraising initiative promoting Islam and the positive impact of unity. As a young entrepreneur, Saima aims to continue to grow her company, being humble as a forward-thinking, green and modest fashion brand for the Western Muslimah. Also joining in the show this morning, talking all about the Muslim Children's Book Festival, joined by the wonderful Yasmin Egala. Yasmin Egala is the author of Treasures of Jannah, children's books aimed to instill the love of Jannah in the little hearts and minds. Now, as a mother of 3 energetic children, Yasmin juggles her career as a human resource professional, author and co-founder of Tiny Moomins workshops and the first dedicated children's book festival on 8th of March to celebrate stories for Muslim children and the amazing creators behind these stories. So I am super duper delighted to introduce these delightful ladies. It's less talk and more finding out from these wonderful ladies in the studio. Assalamu alaikum, Saima. How are you, my dear?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm super duper delighted to have you joining me. Goodness. Wow.
It's so nice to be here. Otherwise, at this time, I'm usually, baby's in the bath, baby's having a tantrum, baby needs a toy. So it's nice to be kind of at the house. And
I hope he's listening in. Do you think he's listening in to Mama?
he might be. He might be watching.
He might be watching. Yeah,
It might be Paw Patrol. It's
No, he needs to be watching us. Come on, he needs to be watching his mum. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
thank you for having me.
The wonderful Yasmin. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Half term, yay or nay?
Yes, go back to school, yes.
What was the journey like, kind of getting here this morning for you? Did you get the kids ready on time?
No, I just ran out. I left them with their dad this morning. I'm not doing this. I'm coming on Inspire FM. So yeah, I left them.
Priorities, I love that.
Exactly.
And have you actually found out whether the kids have actually got to school or not?
No, I don't want to answer any calls. It's not my problem.
Not your problem.
It's your day off today.
I love how you just cut that off. You know, you deal with it, Father.
Exactly.
You deal with it, and hopefully he's dealt with it well, and hopefully the children are safe and
Yes,
at school.
I hope so.
Hopefully Dad is okay.
Exactly.
Let's worry
Get the
about
kids,
Dad. I think
Dad.
the kids also are.
You know, I'm going to ask my listeners this morning, mums, when you've left Dad in charge, what has been the most unusual thing that has happened? Has Dad actually sorted out the children properly and sent them to school? Or mums must have this experience. We're very more diligent, aren't we? I don't know of your
Definitely.
experience. Are you more diligent as a parent? Like everything is in order, socks, shoes, hair, uniform, bags, packed lunch, everything sorted to the T. But when you get your husband to do that, it's just, they just don't care. Get them in the car, get them to school, as long as they're in one piece.
Yeah, that's definitely my experience.
But it's also a case of I spend more time with my son, so I know what he needs, and I've had that,
Right.
I've built it up. I'm sure I was scatty in the beginning, but you work it out. Whereas my husband, because he's at work all the time, he doesn't see him as much. So when he gets to it, he's still learning what he needs to do or what to put in the baby bag, or and he's done amazing because he looks after him a lot on the weekends and evenings and things like that. But it's just about that experience. And I'm guessing if it was the other way around, if I was at work 24/7 and he was looking after the baby, when it came to my turn, I'd probably still be learning that, I forgot to put this in the bag, I need to take that. It might just be a learning curve.
A learning curve. And I think if you give somebody that opportunity to take that role on, then they would, they'll learn
Yeah,
from their
Definitely.
mistakes, and practice makes perfect, because even as mothers ourselves, it was a learning process for us
Definitely.
too, right?
Definitely.
So guys, I'm asking you this morning, when you leave your husbands in charge, what's been the most unusual thing that they've done? Because dads have hacks. They do things the other way round.
They do.
And I've been watching all these lovely clips about dads and how, I've seen those clips where dads are trying to do the hair for their daughter, and using like the pipe of the vacuum to kind of put the hair bubble in, putting the hair in. The most unusual hack. But we're talking about dad hacks this morning and trying to get the kids ready for school. What is it that they do slightly different to mums? The show that you're listening to, guys, is the Urban Kube, and I'm joined by these absolutely amazing mothers in the studio this morning who are mumpreneurs extraordinaire. I'm joined by no other than the awesome Saima Siddiqui, who is the lady behind, and actually she's a finalist for Islam Channel Startup Business of the Year Award, and she's behind the first online eco-conscious modest wear brand. Plus, I'm also joined by the very awesome Yasmin Egala, who is behind Tiny Mummins, the first dedicated Muslim children's book festival. Lots going on. Where are you finding all this time to do this? I'm starting with yourself, Yasmin. Congratulations with the Children's Books Festival.
Thank you. In terms of time, honestly, I think you have to make time, because as a mom, there's somebody always needs something, including the fathers as well. So you have to find time, and I think it's finding things that you can do for yourself. So I do work full time. I have 3 children, and I'm always working on a project. So aside from being an author, I thought, you know what, I need to do things for myself to make sure that I'm keeping to who I am, not just me as the mother or me as the wife or me as the sister, whatever. So for me, it's really important to find time.
Yasmin, you're a mum of a toddler, and that is like, and it's terrible. Is he going through the terrible twos?
I think he's past it.
Past it. What?
Like he did go through it, and it was quite a violent. Everything was a kick or a punch or something, and he does have his moments where he'll topple over and he'll have a tantrum. But even his tantrums they're quite entertaining because he knows he's going to hit his head on the floor, so he'll do it in slow motion, which just makes it funny. But now that he's learning to speak, it's getting better. And if I tell him that, okay, don't hit me, say this, repeat after, because I know what he wants. So rather than giving it, I'll say to him, tell me that you want this, and then he has to repeat that sentence. So he is getting better. I can't say the same about playgroup because other kids his own age, they do get some sort of abuse from him. But I think we did see someone, they do the regular health visitor checks. They said it might just be a language thing, and when he learns, better communication, he should hopefully, fingers crossed, pass that.
And communication is something that is really, really important when you have a young child and kind of developing those skills of communication. Yasmin, I wanted to ask you, what language do you speak with your child? Are you going to have you introduced your mother tongue to him?
So I speak both Urdu and English. And if I'm telling him off, it's definitely Urdu. It's like my mum's voice kind of projects out of mine, and we're just telling. But no, it's a mix. But I think I do lean towards Urdu just because I want to kind of keep that within us. And I am a language person. I love language. I love reading. I love speaking to other people, and we do travel back and forth to Pakistan often, and my son's got his grandparents and his great-grandparents, so I think Urdu is such an important thing within the family itself for him to know. And
it was National Mother Tongue Day last week, and that's the reason why I asked that question. Is our mother tongue kind of dying out? Yasmin, tell me about your background. Is English your first language?
Yes, it is. But I mean, ethnically, I'm from Ghana, West Africa. So I do speak a language called Hausa. Unfortunately, I haven't been very good at teaching it to my children because my husband and I speak different languages. So we end up speaking English at home. But I do think it's really important. For me personally, I can see my mother tongue dying out because my children don't understand it. And it's something I need to get better at. I think it's really important.
There has been a big emphasis with research suggesting that originally those that spoke a second language, children didn't develop as fast enough academically in the education system. And now we're seeing a bit of a reversal where those that are learning to have a second language are succeeding at the same pace. And I came across an article that says native English speakers fall behind children of immigrants in GCSE maths.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're seeing more and more of this. So I think it's an absolute blessing if you are able to get your children to speak your mother tongue. And it is that connection with roots, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's also patterns, because language has patterns, and that's what the kids are learning. And also at such a young age, they have to differentiate that this is English and this is, whatever your second language is. And you see in a lot of European countries, from such a young age, they teach languages at school because they've already understood that is going to help them develop further on. And then you see it now here as well, where Dora the Explorer, she's teaching you Spanish, or you've got, I can't remember all the other ones, but even now they've got, they teach you sign language.
Fantastic.
Yeah. What's that clown? I don't watch these things because my son's not there yet, but there's that clown. They always talk and then they sign whatever they're saying, but they're also teaching you, and then they've got kids who are re-signing what they're saying to kind of teach you those. And it's such a nice thing to see.
And I think it's very much needed. Where if we want to be in a society that's accepting at all, then these are the sort of skills that I think need to be taught in school. Sign language. Another article I've come across is where schools are now introducing home economics, and in particular for boys, to develop their life skills. I remember having home economics lessons at school, and I thought they were fantastic, and then they just died out. Do you think there needs to be more of a drive for our children to be taught these skills, not just at home, but also at school, Yasmin?
Definitely, I think so. I definitely think so. And I studied home economics, and I loved it. And actually at home, I have 2 boys, and I encourage them to, cook, get involved with things like that, because they're good skills to have. And also we shouldn't put, the boys don't cook, that kind of, that whole kind of stereotype. We don't want that. So I think it's really, really good that they're bringing that back into schools.
Saima, you have a little boy, so do you feel that you're going to make sure that he's able to do all those life skills, that traditionally we were taught just girls should be cooking and girls should be cleaning?
If you meet my husband, you'll see that he does all those things anyway.
Fantastic.
He's quite good. So he does he's a bit more busier now with his work, but he used to do so much cooking, or we used to do, like once a week he'd do the cooking, or he usually does breakfast on the weekend and things like that. So I think my husband's already in that mindset, and he's quite practical. He's hands-on with my son. And there isn't really that division of that old kind of stereotypical division of labour. Everyone just does a bit of everything, and his parents are like that as well. Everyone just does a bit of everything, and I think there's that ethos of we're a team. This is our house. Everyone just needs to pick a corner and start.
Oh, I like that. We're a team.
Yeah, I think when you have that mentality, as opposed to where I grew up, where boys did this and girls did that, but boys really didn't do anything and the girls did everything.
Yasmin, did you find that growing up? Was it equal in your household? If you have brothers?
Yeah, I think as much as my parents tried to kind of make it equal, I have one brother, and so there's 2 girls and 1 boy. I do think the girls picked up more naturally because the boys would push back, I don't want to do it, and then the parents would kind of, okay, well, yeah, you just get your sister, so I think it was kind of something they grew up in their generation. So even though they tried to kind of not make it like that, it became like that. So I'm very conscious. I don't want especially my boys to think that that's a woman's role, and I want my girl to also know that actually, like you said, Saima, it's
a team
equal.
effort.
Yeah, it's a team effect.
Our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, he did house chores. He sewed his clothes.
Exactly.
He helped his wives. And he still also successfully led the Ummah as well. So he's, if we're following the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, then that's one of the greatest examples there.
Exactly.
But yet we're not hearing about that enough.
No, we're letting our culture kind of override what the sunnah is.
Yes. Folks, we are listening to the wonderful Yasmin Egala and Saima Siddiqui on the Urban Kube this morning, and we're exploring their thoughts and conversations around everything and anything this morning. We would love you to join in with the show this morning, and we're asking you, mums, do your husbands, if you give them the opportunity to kind of look after the children, do they have a particular hack that they do to make the job easier? I would love to find out from you on 07779 481822. We're also giving away tickets to a upcoming production called The Mother Monologues, which is quite fitting because I've got 2 mamas in the studio. And The Mother Monologues is a show that's happening on 6th of March at the Hat Factory. And we've got 5 tickets to actually give away for the Mother Monologues, courtesy of a wonderful brother by the name of Majid Waris, who's giving away 5 tickets to Inspire FM listeners. He's the director of a charity called Humanity Unites, and that charity is basically supporting the community in Burton around times of austerity. And the play itself, The Mother Monologues, Life Happens, Coffee Helps, that's the title, Life Happens, Coffee Helps, is about the journey of motherhood through times of austerity, their survival, their stories of the survival, and it's going to be presented through monologues and poems by the mums themselves, who are locals in Luton, who are actually for the first time going to be performing on the stage to a public audience of all these stories. And these stories are around cutbacks. The stories are around educational cutbacks, social service cutbacks, not having the use of food banks, and various others. But I'm not going to give it all away. I'd like you guys to come down and check it out. But we've got 5 tickets actually to give away to this production. Now the question is, what's the title of the play? If you know the title of the play, then you've got a chance to grab one of these tickets, courtesy of Majid Waris, who's been very, very kind and generous in actually sponsoring these tickets. So, folks, the title of the play, what is it? I might give it away a little later on the show. Ladies, you've just been listening into a little bit of a snippet of the production, The Mother Monologues. How important is it for mothers to have their stories told or their journeys told? Yasmin, you're an author and also behind Tiny Mummins, and you do creative workshops and puppeteering with children, as well as launching the first ever Muslim book festival. So how important for you is it that the mothers get to have their say?
I think it's very important because I think as women, somebody's always telling our story for us, and I think the most effective way and actually to get the real story or real opinion is for us as mothers to share our experience and come together and, you know, share knowledge and, you know, just let people know what it's like, you know, for us to share our stories and the challenges that we have. I think it's really important to give us a voice.
Yasmin, what about yourself? You're a mumpreneur, so you must have some great stories to share. And we're going to find out your journey on the show this morning. Mothers sharing the raw, the real, the true stories of motherhood.
I think everyone has that passion or has that need, whether you're a mum, whether you're a dad, whether you're just, you know, whatever you're doing, you want to share who you are. And that's what we do, that we express ourselves, whether it's through fashion, whether it's through books, whether it's through poetry. You know, everyone has that forte of how they do express themselves. And I think it's so important to be heard and to be given that kind of pedestal that I am important enough that, you know, I need to be, I'm not just that person that everyone leans on. I need to lean on someone. Sometimes I need to have my story told. And also, there's this Facebook group, it's amazing. It's called Muslim Mamas UK.
Yay!
And I love that. You go on it and you see the most random questions, but there are so many answers underneath. And that is where creativity happens. That is where support happens. That is where I say, okay, I've got a 2-year-old. Oh, you've got a 2-year-old. Okay, let's exchange tips. Let's talk about this. Or, you know, your kids are older than mine, so you tell me what I've got to look forward to. And you know, everyone's like helping each other through that journey. No two stories are the same, but you can always learn from each other.
And I've actually been an avid fan, and I followed that page, and it's really helped me through so many areas of my
makes you realise you're not alone at all. Like sometimes I think the hardest thing is, you know, I've gone through this struggle, whatever it is, and you just feel alone. But then when you see that somebody else has gone through it as well, you think, okay, that's half the pressure off because you're not alone. And then you start to talk, and then you start to kind of open up.
One of the biggest pressures for me through motherhood is knowing what to wear.
I've got the solution for you.
On the school run as well. There's been lots of articles that I've come across and Facebook posts where a school has actually banned parents for coming into school on the school run in pajamas.
Oh, wow. Yes, I saw
and
that.
Slippers. Well, I never. Have you ladies ever done that?
No.
I'm not there yet.
Not there yet.
Ask me in a year.
I'm one of those mums that likes to get, not dolled off. I mean, I'm not like in heels or anything, but I do like to look presentable when I'm going to the school run. I've been known to wear lipstick to go on the school run sometimes.
Is that not allowed?
I don't know. Nobody else does it, but they're like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, excuse me. I might be seen in pajamas.
My children need to see me presentable.
Exactly.
And you know they're the ones smiling and say, that's my mama.
Exactly, that's my mother there, yeah.
And so I want to ask you guys this morning, have you ever been on the school, gone to the school run in your pajamas? Go on, you can be honest. We'll keep it anonymous. We've actually had somebody entering the competition. Thank you so very much to win the tickets for the Mother Monologues. Yes, it's called the Mother Monologues, but that's not the exact title. So you're going to have to go back and maybe scroll back to the Facebook Live of the show and listen in to what the actual title is. Was it Life Happens, Coffee Helps? I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. I'm so generous on this show. Folks, you're listening into the Urban Kube, and I'm joined by of two fantastic mumpreneurs. Now, mumpreneurs are on the rise at the moment, where mothers are using their entrepreneur skills and they're balancing their business, their startup companies with motherhood, and they're doing a mighty fine job of it. We're seeing a growth in the economy led by mumpreneurs. And I have two in the studio who make it sound so easy. And after the break, we're going to be finding out from them their journeys through fashion, but not any sort of fashion, eco-modest fashion. So much so that it's made Saima Siddiqui a finalist for Islam Channel Startup Business of the Year Award. Plus, we're also joined by the very fabulous Yasmin Egala, who is a mum of 3, and she is a human resource professional and author and co-founder of Tiny Mumins, and she's going to be talking to us about the Muslim Children's Book Festival, the first of its kind, happening on the 8th of March. I have an interesting article that I'm going to be talking about after the break, and that article is that Netherlands makes trains free on National Book Day. For those that show a book instead of a ticket, they get a free train journey. How awesome is that? You know, how awesome is that? And also going to find out from these wonderful ladies, if there was a book that they could write, what would the title be of it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to allow them across the break to think about that. And coming back after the break, once again, going to be launching this competition of giving away 5 tickets for the Mother Monologues Life Happens Coffee Helps show on the show today, inshallah, as well. So join me straight after this with a cup of coffee or a book. Assalamu alaikum.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It is 10:30, Monday, 24th of February, and you're listening to Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube show. We're going live and direct to Luton surrounding areas, Peterborough and Sheffield this morning. A massive big hearty assalamu alaikums to everybody, and I hope you've had a fantastic week and you've not been too eager to send the little ones back to school because half term is over. Yay, people! Yeah, I'm really glad, and the children are back to school, and I so miss them. She says. Okay, I did. We're finding out from you guys this morning how your experience has been with the children off half term. I mean, the weather has been quite horrendous. Did you do anything in particular at home to make it a little bit more fun-based and interesting for the children? The weather has been intense, and it's just really kind of it turned a lot of things around for a lot of people. I mean, the country has been kind of hit quite drastically by the floods. I hope everybody is well and not being impacted too much listening in to the show this morning. Now, the show you're listening to is the Urban Kube. It's a show about celebrating the creative journeys by trailblazers, not just locally, nationally, but also internationally. This morning, I'm joined by 2 absolutely fantastic guests who are keeping me entertained with their wonderful, wonderful journeys, and also yourself too. Who am I talking about? No other than 2 fantastic mumpreneurs. It's no other than Saima Siddiqui and awesome Yasmin Egala. We've been talking about so much, and I've got so much more to talk about. Just before the break, we mentioned that the Netherlands made trains free on National Book Day for those that showed a book instead of a ticket. Now, Yasmin, you're an author, and you're also the co-founder of Tiny Mumins, workshops and interactive creativity for Muslim children, and also now launching a Muslim Children's Book Festival, the first of its kind. So your thoughts on the Netherlands making trains free on National Book Day?
I think it's awesome, and I wish that the UK would do that, because imagine how much you would encourage people to read, and how much cheaper it would be as well to produce a book rather than, produce a train ticket. So I think that's something that, would encourage people to do in the UK. I think that's something we should do.
And they've been doing this since 1932 in the Netherlands. So it's not something new. They've been doing this for decades.
Yeah. Wow.
Yasmin, you've travelled from Milton Keynes. Do you use the trains?
Yes, I use the trains. Yeah.
Do you ever pull a book out?
No, I'm going to try it on World Book Day and see what happens.
Set up a trend.
There you go.
Saima, you're in London. the tubes are a very common transport.
Yeah.
So do you use them often?
I used to. Since the baby, not as much, because I think staircases and it's just for me. I'd rather just leave it. Although I have invested in a light stroller, so the plan is when the weather gets better, I will start to make more journeys. But not as much as before. Now I'm a driver.
Now you're driving. Your thoughts on the Netherlands making trains free?
I think that's amazing. I think it's really good to celebrate like books and reading and that creativity, because I look at my son, he's only 2, but he absolutely loves reading. And we go to the library so often, we read before he goes to sleep. And, you know, like if I tell him, do you want the toys or the books? So we've got everything, you know, in their corners. He'll go for a book. He's happy to read and just dive into a book.
Do you feel there are enough books that represent him as a Muslim little boy? Do you feel you struggle to find content, or are you quite chill about it?
At the moment, he's into dinosaurs, so I don't think, you know, he's just there and dinosaurs, and he's actually named all his dinosaurs after us.
Oh!
So I think he sees himself in a triceratops, so I'm happy at the moment.
So who are you? What dinosaur are you?
Me and my husband are the diplodocuses, or the long necks.
Oh, wow.
My dad is the T-Rex. So, although my dad's personality is not anything of the sort, and so my son's great-grandmother is the raptor. You know, the main one in Jurassic Park. So I don't know how he's, you know, adapted that. But I mean, like, for now, I'm happy.
You know what I don't understand? Children can naturally say these long names of dinosaurs, but they can't strum a sentence together. What is going on there? They can say words up to like 3 syllables, but they can't strum a sentence together. And another thing that really astounds me is they're able to empty your account, download apps.
Yes.
You know,
I can
and
relate.
do anything, all the stuff off Amazon or wherever, and but they can't feed themselves.
No.
What is
Tidy
going on
their
there?
rooms.
Oh, tidy their rooms. Yasmin, are you feeling the pain?
I'm feeling the pain. Every time I get that email to say, you know, you've just spent £20 on Roblox games, I'm like, who did this?
All right, I'm not there yet. I have a lot to look forward to there.
I was speaking last week about scientists are suggesting, or researchers suggesting, that we need to give our children traditional games to play, remove technology out of their hands and just let them use their imagination, or just not let them, don't give them anything, just let them roam free and actually allow them to stimulate themselves by just imagining. I remember that growing up, not because it's just because my parents couldn't afford to give me the latest toy, so I had to do it. And I think that was my generation. We didn't have accessibility to what children have now and what we can provide them. Yasmin, can you relate to that? Do you think that makes sense? Do you think there's more need for that?
I think it does. I mean, growing up, I think I had a balance. My parents, we did have do you remember Sega Mega Drive?
Oh,
we had that. But then we kind of had strict times. But because we had times where we had to use our imagination, so I used to get lost in books and write stories, whereas I think my children now, everything's about games and iPads. But what I have done recently is I've got them old traditional games like Monopoly, so they can sit down and, you know, do it together, because I do think nowadays it's like they can't even stand silence. It's like they have to be stimulated all the time, which I don't think is always good.
This is all to come in your journey of motherhood, yes, Saima. So, Saima, do you sometimes get overwhelmed by people giving you advice and tips, or do you just follow your gut instinct? Because there seems to be a lot of anxiety for new mums when they're just being overwhelmed with people giving advice and saying you should do it like this, and being quite judgmental and blah 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 blah.
I think in life I've learned to just zone everyone out. It's really important to listen, because everyone, you know, it's usually your own mum or your mother-in-law or your grandpa. You know, like there's another mum somewhere who's giving you advice. So they've done it. So it's nice to listen. It's nice to think that, okay, if she did it that way, let me try it. But at the end of the day, you know your baby better than anyone. So her baby might be different to yours. And they used to always, the standard is feed your baby to sleep, like give them a bottle of milk or whatever. But I never used to do that, because I know my son, and I know when I give him milk, he actually wakes up. He used to want to feed straight after waking up. And I used to say that to everyone, no, my child is different. He doesn't function that way. No, just do it. And then I'd do it to prove them wrong. But, you know, there is that pressure of you have to listen. But I think I've learned to, and not just as a mum, but in life, that there's a limit to what you need to take. Listen to everyone, but choose what you want to implement.
gut instinct,
Yeah.
isn't it? Now, you're being a mother and actually going into business. Did you face any barriers or people questioning that, you've got a little one, why are you launching your own business?
I think not really, because when you've got one, it's still an easy stage in the sense that there's only one, and he's in such a good routine, and he's still quite young that he's dependent, but not. I don't need to do school runs. I don't need to invest in homework and things like that. So he's still at such an easy age that if I get something up and running now, then hopefully once he's in school, then I'll be a bit more established. And I think I had a lot of support from my family, my in-laws, my husband, everyone.
Mashallah. So once you completed your MBA, you went on to establish your own clothing brand. It's the first online eco-conscious modest wear brand.
Yeah.
It's been so successful, it's now been shortlisted as a finalist for Islam Channel Startup Business of the Year Award. Woo!
Thank you.
Wow, you make it sound so easy. But why eco fashion and why eco modest fashion?
I think the modest is what came first, because for me it's always been, where do I shop? I don't want to wear layers. I don't want to do that whole inner full sleeve and outer. There's just something that's not comfortable about dressing that way in terms of, whether it's summer and you're feeling overly hot. So Being Humble was created for the modern Western Muslim woman, where I want full sleeves. I don't really wear an abaya. I'm that in between of, I'm not completely abaya wearing. I'm not completely the other way. I'm just something in between. So we wanted to launch dresses and tops and hopefully expand the brand to kind of encompass everything Western modest. And for me, it's always, especially now, you hear so much about how plastics are so detrimental to someone somewhere else. And it's so sad, especially, like I look at my son and I think if somebody somewhere else was doing something to hurt him here, how would I feel? And then I think it was a Panorama documentary or something, where we think we're recycling, we send it off, and then it's out of sight, out of mind. The council's got it, it's their job now. But really, they just ship it off to Malaysia or Indonesia or wherever, and over there they're burning it. Those fumes are now polluting their air and their children who are coughing up blood. But that's on me as much as it is on the council. So for me, when I was speaking to my husband and we were brainstorming, okay, Being Humble, what are we going to do with it? One important factor was we are going to embody like these values, and it comes from Islam as much as it does from just common sense, really. So we have to have no plastic in our packaging. So we don't do plastics. We don't make branded plastic, Being Humble bags. Everything's cotton, everything's biodegradable. So if you are throwing something away, it will not hurt anyone, hopefully. But there's like a lot of room for us to grow. We're still a small brand. There's still so much, we have ideas.
But it's that level of conscientiousness, and this seems to be the way forward, very much so in the world of fashion, because fashion is one of the greatest polluters,
Of course.
after oil, which is very, very scary, and it is actually helping. It is impacting climate change, which we're slowly hearing about, but we're not really putting into process. More businesses are thinking more so, being a bit more conscientious. But fast fashion is so easy to access. People just want to get the latest trend and wear it, but they only have 3 wears in that item, and then the next thing comes on, and it's the next trend that comes up.
But it's the whole kind of structure of I need to be on social media. I can't. Even I look at Kate Middleton, and when she wears something twice, there's like a panic. It's like, no, she's allowed to wear. It's okay for her to. I'm sure she's washed it. I'm sure it's clean. It's fine. It's that pressure. It's that social pressure.
The social pressures. Do you think? I'm going to ask you a question, and if Muslim bloggers should take more responsibility or maybe showcase less items, because they're creating a want. They're creating, but they're lacking consumer consciousness. And what I mean about that is they're actually encouraging and enticing people to buy the latest thing, want the latest thing. And if they're Muslim, should they take more responsibility to do less of that?
I think yes and no. Yeah, as in everyone should. I don't think the onus should be you're a Muslim, therefore you have to do it, and if you're not a Muslim blogger, you don't. I think it's everyone's planet. Everyone has to take responsibility, regardless of what your religion is. And there's so much information out there now that now is the best time to be, using your platform to push forward. But as Muslims, and this is something that Lauren Booth was saying, and I'm working with her on a podcast, and so she's done the first episode on, shopping, and when you go into a local supermarket, choose things which are fair trade because you know that the end game is a lot better. Choose something with cardboard packaging, or buy loose bananas over the plastic packeted ones. It's like really small tips. But something she said was that it's quite sad that as Muslims, we already know this. We already know that it's our job to protect the environment. We already know it's our job to know that our consequences of our actions matter. Yet we don't take a stand for it. And that, for me, is where the embarrassment or shame, I don't take it enough. And maybe it's lack of knowledge from us. Maybe it's lack of having those key figures in our Islamic culture, whether it's imams or, whoever it is. We need more celebrities and when I say celebrity, I'm not talking about social media.
To advocate, be ambassadors.
I'm talking about imams should be more relatable to us. We should be looking up to them and not a social media blogger for things,
A very, very interesting point. Yasmin, can you relate to anything that Saima has said? And somebody who looks fabulous on the school run, are you interested in the brand that she's her brand, clothing brand, and do you find it difficult to find modest clothing?
I think the modest fashion has come a long way, so there's a lot more out there, but like you said, I think it's very disposable. It's like, okay, this is in, and then literally it feels like the next week it's out of fashion again. So it's like you're buying all these things, wearing it once, it's I can't wear it again. So I took a picture and I took a selfie, I posted on Instagram, so I can't wear it again. But why not? Because you're wasting money. I'm not saying people should not spend money, but you're wasting money, and also what's the point of just wearing something once? So I think definitely we should be a bit more conscious as Muslims, and I'm definitely interested in what you're doing, and I will definitely check out your brand.
And are you wearing anything that's from your company right now? Ooh.
My top. So at the moment we've started with, for me, I think the hardest thing to find is a full sleeve top or dress.
Tell me about it.
That is where, so for me, I wanted to start the brand by just ticking that box off, because everyone can find trousers or jeans or leggings or where, your preferences change that, but I think everyone wants the full sleeves. No one likes wearing because we did a survey and everyone was like, I need a top, I need a dress, I need something to wear on top of trousers, something for work, something for every day. And so I thought, let me start this brand with that segment just on its own. So we've got tops, dresses, shirts, different lengths, knee lengths, slightly shorter, slightly longer, depending on what your taste is. And we've got different colors, different prints, because I'm tired of stripes. I'm tired of black. I actually sorted my wardrobe out yesterday, and there's half of it is black and blue.
Okay.
And then the rest is 2 purples, 1 pink. It's like, where are the colors? But I think when you try and find those modest type of dresses and tops in high street, you always end up with black. Because for some reason, and they're not
adaptable though, isn't it? It's quite adaptable. It goes with everything. But I love the print, I have to say.
Thank you.
You've matched it so well with the
Really
scarf,
nice.
mashallah. It looks very, very elegant. I'm just gonna have to borrow that. But I totally get what you're saying. It's like you go, there is more accessibility. I think the high streets are now. The fashion does seem to be, there's a lot of layering going on, there's a lot longer tops, but there's always something missing. You get a long, beautiful dress with the arms, and they've got a triangle missing in the middle. What am I supposed to do there? And then you have to wear a t-shirt underneath, and then you've got the gap gaping. You've got it all covered from the front, and then the gap's gaping.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do
So
there?
what about that slit, the one on the side? You
Oh
forgot
yeah,
that?
yeah.
They have to ruin it in one way or another. But and then it's having to be innovative, and I love the layering look. So tell me, what is on trend at the moment? What is it? What's the sort of look that we should be emulating or
Talking about from a modest fashion. So for me, I'm quite anti-layering, just because I think it just gets so hot, and then there's just so many things going on. So I think for me at the moment, the things that I'm seeing are knee-length dresses or coloured trousers, so that you match. You're bringing a lot more colour into the mix, as opposed to the kind of traditional black trousers and put on the top.
So bring out the colour in your
bring out the
wardrobe.
prints. It's spring now as well, isn't it? So you're getting florals.
But is it really spring? I mean,
supposed
the
to be.
weather is quite schizophrenic.
Got storms everywhere. haven't we?
So you've got to your clothes have to be storm-proof as well, which doesn't help. And when you're on the school run, oh dear. Now, folks, it's 10:48, Monday, 24th of February, and I'm joined by the very fabulous Saima and Yasmin in the show this morning, talking to us about ethical fashion. And also, we're going to be talking a lot more about books with Yasmin and the launch of the Muslim Children's Book Festival, which is happening on March the 8th. Now, it doesn't just stop there. We're also giving away free tickets to the Mother Monologue show happening on March the 6th, celebrating International Women's Day. The question to get win a ticket is, what's the title of the play? What is the full title of the play? And you then have a chance of winning a ticket. Now, you need to contact us on 07779481822 for your chance to win. The time's 10:49, and coming back to the show, absolutely delighted to be joined by no other than Saima Siddiqui and also Yasmin Egala, who are both mum entrepreneurs extraordinaires. That's what I'm going to say to them. They're so down to earth and make motherhood and owning their own businesses sound so easy. Is it easy, Yasmin? Tell me. You look so relaxed and you look elegant and just so calm. And you're doing, you're working in industry as well. You're also a mother of 3 young children. You're event planning for the Muslim Book Festival for children, and you run Tiny Mummins.
Yeah, it is not easy. I think. The thing is, I think with motherhood, or when you're balancing everything from the outside, it looks really easy. I get a lot of people say, "Oh, super mum, how do you do all of it?" I think people don't see the meltdowns that we have in the back. And it's all about being organised at the end of the day, because we all have the same 24 hours. So it's choosing your priorities and making sure everything's okay at home, but finding pockets of time to do the things that you love. So for me, it's event planning, Tiny Mu'mins, anything creative is what I want to do. And my kids are actually at the centre of everything I do. So Tiny Mu'mins is a workshop for kids. And the reason why my sister and I created it is, growing up as Muslim children, we were so sick of Islam being presented in a dull way.
Right.
So just going to madrasa and being basically lectured at. Yeah. So we wanted to find interactive ways through puppet shows to teach children the deen and Islam. So my children are the centre of all my projects, if that makes any sense.
And I had the pleasure of actually observing one of the puppet shows, and it was fabulous. The kids loved it, and I loved the interaction, because what you were doing, you were taking quite a common modern way of storytelling that we've seen whilst we're growing up, but actually adding the Muslim angle to it, and the children's faces were just so elated, and it was fun and it was vibrant. So is that what we're going to be seeing as part of the Muslim Children's Book Festival?
Oh yes, so the Muslim Children's Book Festival is basically a celebration of stories for Muslim children, because often we don't have a space where we can celebrate stories for Muslim children. But it's not going to be any dry book festival. It's going to be, we're talking puppet shows, there's going to be illustration workshops, creative writing, face painting, lots of Muslim authors. It's going to be a really, really fun day.
Fantastic.
For the whole family, not just for the children.
So how can people find out about the festival, and where is it, when is it on, and any Facebook links?
Yep, so it's on Sunday the 8th of March in Rumi's Caves, that's northwest London. You can get tickets at www.tinymu'mins.com, and we've also got a Facebook page, so if you Google or if you search Tiny Mu'mins, you can get tickets.
Wonderful. Is that something you're wanting to maybe take your little one to?
I was just registering all the website links, because my son, he absolutely loves books, and I love that he loves books, and it's such a huge part of our day. He'll start the morning saying, "Mum, can you pass me that book?" And I have to reach for whichever book, and he knows which books he likes, and he does all the actions, and he absolutely immerses himself in books. And we do the whole bedtime reading thing, and he's got his glass of milk, he's sitting on the bed with me, and we're just reading. So it's such a huge part of the day for us that I actually am really interested in popping over next week.
Fantastic.
You should. Can I just add one thing? as a mum of 3, I don't know, all the mums there, every World Book Day, the schools ask our children to dress up as a
I'm looking
character.
forward to that.
Yeah.
So we've actually got a competition where children are encouraged to dress up as a character from a Muslim story. So any Muslim story, as in any books written by a Muslim author, dress up as a character, and there's a prize for the best dress.
Okay.
So
Ooh.
hopefully.
Any author names you want to drop who will be present?
So I'll be there. Myself, I'll be there. Elizabeth Lima, Samia, Freya's Funny Feeling. We've got Rabia Bashir,
mashallah. Okay.
Hajra Momin. Just to name a few. I don't want to give it all away, but yeah, there's a few people that will be there. There'll be more as well.
Awesome authors. Oh, it sounds super exciting. One author that's really making her name in the Muslim book author world and breaking the mainstream is no other than Zainab Mia. I don't know if you know her
Yes, I
name,
do.
and it was wonderful to see her book, A Boy with a Big Imagination, actually being seen or in the Times. So her book got a mention in the Times, Planet Omar.
Yes.
And my favourite book of hers, 2 books actually. One is My Dad's Beard, which is wonderful, and Odd Sockosaurus.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That one's really good.
I'm
gonna look into that.
Yeah,
you'll
it's
love
really
that
good.
because you were talking about dinosaurs. Your little boy would love that. And doing extraordinarily well in her book publishing world. So I don't know if there's somebody that you've connected with or not.
Yes, we've connected with her. Yes, and my son loves her book, Planet Omar. He's not even a reader, my oldest son, but he finished that book in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Well
so her
done.
books are amazing.
Well done. And it's just wonderful to see her book actually on in one of the mainstream supermarkets as well on the shelves. So Zainab Mia, awesome. So pleased to see these dynamic mums doing exceptionally well. So there's nothing really stopping you. If you've got an idea, just go ahead with it. And that's what we're going to ask you. What are the tips you could give to mums that want to go into business or set up their own social enterprises or startup companies? We're going to do that straight after the break. Now we're still launching the competition. Thank you, Maggie. You have entered correctly. If you want a chance to win tickets to the Mother Monologues performance on the 6th of March, celebrating International Women's Day. We're giving away tickets on Inspire FM this morning. So do contact us on 07779481822. Tell us the name of the actual play itself, the full name. And we're also going to ask our wonderful sisters in the studio for International Women's Day, who would their role model be? Who would their role model be? And just catch me straight off this. Assalamu alaikum.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. 11 o'clock, Monday 24th February, and it's the final hour of the Urban Kube show. I'm Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on this morning, and I'm not alone in the studio. I'm joined by the very fabulous Yasmin Egala and Saima Siddiqui, and we've been talking ethical fashion, books, children, and everything else under the sun or under the wind this morning. You can catch the repeat of the show 8 p.m. this evening. Now, before the break, I asked two questions actually before both the breaks. One question was, if there was a book title that the sisters in the studio would name a book after themselves, what would that be? And the second question I wanted to ask them was to find out for International Women's Day, which is happening in 2 weeks' time, who is their role model? So firstly, I just want to say salams back to my lovely ladies. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How have you found the show, ladies?
It's been really good, amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. It's nice to just sit with 2 other mums and just talk.
That's
without
isn't
the
it?
kids running.
Without any kids, because life happens, coffee helps.
Exactly.
And that's the title of the Mother Monologues, just in case you wanted to know and you wanted to enter the competition. Did you see how I did that? But you need a number, people. It's 07779481822. Book titles. That's what we're talking about. And the reason why we're talking about that is because, mashallah, Yasmin, you are an author. and or the co-founder with your sister of Tiny Mummins, and also you're launching this very, very exciting Muslim Children's Book Festival on March the 8th at Rumi's Cave. Now, to begin with, if a book, have you thought of a book title that would best resonates with you?
Mine would be Motherhood and Lipstick. 'Cause that kind of encompasses what I'm about, lipstick and motherhood.
Love it. Motherhood and lipstick. You can't go out of the door without your lippy.
Exactly.
To face the world. And what about yourself, Saima?
I'm trying to think of something creative, but for me, it's Celebrate Me. I think it's all about just being who you are and really being true to yourself. And it's not about, I need to fit in with that clique. It's, I need to be me and celebrate me.
But can you celebrate you in the world of social media? That's the question I want to ask you. Because there does seem to be a lot of pressure, especially I'm seeing more and more amongst the Muslim community of young girls being influenced by a set trend on social media, be that good or be that bad. And everybody seems to look exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think that's, it's nice to see a lot more diversity in who we're following. You know, it's not just the same celebrities and things. It's nice to see that young women from anywhere and everywhere are kind of taking to that platform. And I follow a lot of people, Muslim and non, just to get advice, just to get tips. And, you know, there's some amazing mums who balance life and work, and you just learn from them. And then there's the mums who look good. I was like, how does she do that? And you just need to catch those tips. But you're right, there is that kind of canvas of everyone's got the same face. But I think eventually there will be a core set of people are people at the end of the day, and you resonate with me because you believe in what I believe in, or I resonate with you because of that. And I think that's what sticks. Eventually you'll get bored, because I now don't watch makeup tutorials because I've done it. I've gone through that phase. I'm bored. I get it now. I still don't do it, but I get it. But now I need to, you know, reach out to people who, or learn from people who are in the same mindset as me, who believe what I believe, who fight for what I fight for, and, you know, kind of, and I think that's where the longevity is. So those people will fade out, or hopefully they'll kind of get into that mindset of, I need to give something a bit more.
So it's a bit fashionable at the moment, and fashion always fades, and it's very fast, and it's a new trend that will take its place, inshallah. And I hope it will be about sustainable issues and climate change and deeper, meaningful things that make a positive change. Apart from the lipstick and contouring.
As much as I like lipstick, there's more to life than lipstick.
That's what it should be, motherhood and more to life than lipstick. That's your title,
there
Yasmin.
There you go, amended my title.
That sounds more like you, because it's more to you than lipstick, darling. But can you resonate with what Saima has just mentioned, Yasmin?
Definitely, and I think if you're not careful, especially with social media and everything, you will literally be changing who you are every week, because trends come and go so quickly. I mean, one person can have 22,000 followers and you actually don't know why. Sometimes I go on people's pages, I'm like, what are you about? Except for lipstick. Or I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but like you're saying, we need something deeper, because the young people need to look at what message are you giving? And I think with social media, you would literally be changing who you are every week, because things change so fast. So you need to really sit down and think about who you are, not just following a trend and just being like a chameleon, changing every couple of days.
I think on the flip side, although I'm no, you know, that makeup tutorial has its moment, but these women, it's really nice to see is these girls are allowing you into their homes. So you see their kids, you see their husbands, and you do now see, you know, we've got this stigma or this kind of stereotype more that, you know, Asian women or Muslim women, the husband is a very aggressive and he's oppressed her and she's wearing a hijab because but then you see their relationship and you see actually he's encouraging her to be this businesswoman, to be this entrepreneur, he's looking after the kids while she's doing this. And when you see that aspect, you start to think actually they're breaking down stereotypes. They're adding to the culture, they're adding to this. And yes, there is that side of fashion and that superficial side, but there is depth. There's
partnership. There is a cooperation, partnership and encouragement.
You do look up to them and you think, actually, that is a good couple there, because he's doing what he wants to do, she's doing what she wants to do, and they're raising a family. And, you know, that's what I'm doing with my husband. He's got his own life and I've got my own life, and we've got a family together, and I'm sure that's kind of how we all play with that. So it's nice to see that aspect, and it's nice to see that real kind of, this is what a woman is today, or this is what a Muslim woman is, or an Asian woman, or whatever culture that they're representing.
You're both successful Muslim women. In the present context, the political context that we're in, the political world that we're in at the moment. How does that make you feel?
Proud.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Share with me more.
You want to go
first?
Yeah.
I think it's not just the Islam factor, but it's also the woman factor and the mum factor, because we're now in this era of anything is possible. Your voice matters. You can do this, that, and the other. And I think it's so important now, especially because we've got Islamophobia and all these things, you know, like these comments that people are making, and they're still making it today, that terrorism is related to Islam. But you've seen so many incidents where it's not, it wasn't us. But it's nice to kind of see, to be a Muslim and to say, actually, I'm doing this and I'm making a positive impact and I'm doing that and I'm a Muslim, and kind of really be proud to say that and hopefully kind of build myself up to be more of a embodiment of what the Prophet taught.
Inshallah. Yasmin?
I think this is a really good time to be a Muslim woman, because we've gone through a lot. If we think about all the stereotypes, people thinking that we don't have voices, but actually, you know, when you look around you, so many Muslim women are doing such great things. It's almost like the sky's the limit. I mean, I feel like we're taking ownership. We're like, if something isn't there that we want, we're actually creating it ourselves, and I think that's amazing. And also you're seeing a lot of collaboration amongst Muslim women, which I think is beautiful.
I hear there's a collaboration on the cards here.
Yes,
Tell me more. What's going on?
Go on, you. I know she's going to model for me. I've already hired her.
She's more than lipstick.
Oh, definitely. I'm more than lipstick.
She's more than lipstick. That could be on the
exactly, more than lipstick.
That could be on your like hijab or something. Or more than lipstick. But there's an element of tiny mu'mins that isn't just children. It's also the youth branch.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, so in December we launched the Tiny Mu'mins Youth Wing, basically aimed for kind of 12-year-olds up to 16-year-olds, and we just want to empower the young, you know, the youth really to reach for the stars, to really be comfortable in their own skin. So me and Saima have been talking about collaborating and trying to work together to empower more of the youth, because I do believe that the children are our future. I know that sounds really cliche, but if we can do more to empower them, I think it'll be good.
I think this is what we were talking about earlier, in that technology, you know, here's a phone, have fun, and
exactly.
But it's now more about creating those opportunities of actually take a Ludo board and see what you can do with it. And I also volunteer for Islamic Relief, and we're we do a project called Charity Week, which I've been part of for the past decade, and I've seen it grow from just London to now international. And it's a project where kids, not just kids, but any age group. So we started with university students, but now we go as young as nursery, and they're fundraising for Islamic Relief. And the aim is that I'm here in London, you're there in South Africa, there's someone in America, and we're all part of the same project in the same week at the same time, fundraising for orphans and children around the world. And we're just really showing that when you stand together and when you stop saying that I'm a hijabi and you're not a hijabi, therefore I have a beard, or I read this prayer, and you know, whatever it is, when you just break down those barriers and say, actually, I'm a Muslim, you're a Muslim, let's work together, end of story.
You know, the beautiful thing I've been seeing of late, there is more camaraderie amongst all sectors of the Muslim community, practicing, non-practicing, but people are coming to that, especially in the charity sector. It's that camaraderie, and I love that. I love seeing those pictures where you've got such a different wealth of people and the way they look and the way they express their Islamic identity as well. You have been working with Islamic Relief as the International Head of Design for Charity Week, mashallah. And one thing about Islamic Relief is the number of years I've been presenting on the Urban Kube, I've always felt that they were very ahead of their time. They were the charity that was really, really motivating and educating the Muslim community about climate change. And getting us aware about not wasting water, ethical iftars. And we've had Zunaira Malik, who has been quite prominent in this awareness of climate change. So well done for Islamic Relief. I just felt they were the one charity that was actually recognising the importance of...
I think it's twofold, because not only do they do that here, but their projects, which they implement wherever, they're also sustainable. And it's more about empowering those people in those communities, so that we're not just a charity, giving to them. It's we've given you the initial fund, and we've built this up for you. Now you guys maintain it, and I think that's what people need rather than hand-me-downs.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think you build a more sustainable, more long-term impact that way. And also the projects that they're doing are more sustainable anyway. They don't hurt, like if you build a well, I don't think it's as sustainable and it's not as good for that community as if you build a water tower, for example. And again, it's a one-time investment. It might be a bit more expensive, but it'll give you a longer payoff. And I think that's what they're really good at.
Fantastic. 12 minutes past 11, Monday, 24th of February, and this is the Urban Kube show with myself, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock. And also joining me in the studio is a very awesome Saima Siddiqui, who is talking to us about her eco-modest fashion online brand, which is the first of its kind. It's a eco-conscious modest wear brand which has enabled her to be shortlisted as a finalist for Islam Channel Startup Business of the Year Award. Mashallah. She's also working with Lauren Booth on a podcast called Tayyib Way, discussing the Islamic responsibility for protecting our environment. I want to ask you, how is that accessible, that podcast?
That is on YouTube.
Okay.
So I can send you the YouTube link, and it's on a YouTube channel called Salam. And so she's got a podcast called Tayyib Way, where she's working with different people in different areas of life. So she did one, I think, last week with somebody on shopping and like the small changes you can make in your shopping habits. So choose loose bananas over plastic packeted bananas. And just really small things.
So have you been featured on this regularly, or is it just the one-off that you've done?
So this is something new that she's recently started.
Okay.
So she is filming the upcoming episodes. So I should be in one of the, I think, episode 5 or 6.
And what is it that you're talking about?
So mine is, again, related to Be and Humble, which is my fashion brand, and about how to go for brands which aren't fast fashion. So we're not about changing seasons so quickly. I don't bring in clothes every week. For me, this is my season. This is such a long, durable top. It's cotton. It's, it's a nice top that you can wear for a really long time. Wash it, reuse it, and it'll still look great.
Yeah.
And also talking about how packaging matters. So for example, we did a shop, my husband and I, online from a really well-known brand. And it came in packets upon packets, and there's so much plastic all over my living room.
Wow.
And I just thought, I've ordered it, like a T-shirt. Why did it need that many plastic packets? Why did it come in a plastic packet followed by a cardboard box followed by a bigger cardboard box? It's and these are questions that we should be asking our brands, because and for me, and this is what I will be saying to Lauren as well in the podcast, is that's what I'm against. I'm not packaging upon packaging. It's one bag, it's going to have everything in it, and that bag is biodegradable, or it's cotton, or so that's what we're kind of talking about, choosing the right brands, things that you need to look out for in shops, things that you need to think about when it comes to fashion. It's not fast fashion. Don't worry about the trend. Worry about the long-term aspect.
And it's also changing your mindset as well, and not being a slave to fashion. Even though, and one thing about ethical fashion is that it's recognizing who is actually making your clothes. Who is, because there is unfortunately sweatshops and unfair pay for employees in the third world. These high street stores are making a lot of profit on the blood and sweat, unfortunately, of labourers in the third world, and I've just been quite aware and conscious of that. Coming to Yasmin, mashallah, Treasures of Jannah.
Yes.
Children's book aimed to instill the love of Jannah, heaven, in little hearts and minds. Tell me more. That sounds so sweet. That's the title of your book, right?
Yes. So it's been 2 years since I published Treasures of Jannah, and it's basically a story about twins, so a boy and girl, Adam and Hannah. So they go to visit their grandma for the weekend, and as we all know, grandmas tell the most amazing stories, don't they? So their grandma tells them about this place, this place of pleasure and delight. It's Jannah. And really, the story brings Jannah. I know we haven't been to heaven, so we don't know what it looks like, but the kids basically talk about what they would like to do in Jannah. So it basically teaches the readers about Jannah, but in a very interactive way through the minds of children. And actually, how did I come up with the idea? My own children. So I told them about Jannah, and I kind of listened to what the things that they would like to do. So we've got riding on a dinosaur. So riding on a dinosaur, dancing with flowers, chocolate slide,
Oh, wow.
never having a bedtime, all of that, exactly. So really, it's just
love
really
it.
a positive story to really attach children to the afterlife, but not in a preachy way, kind of a fun way.
The only connection I knew about afterlife, you're gonna burn in hell, girl,
Exactly.
and that's all I heard. And I shouldn't even say this. Am I allowed to say this? That's the only thing I remember about growing up and going to the masjid. That's the only story I would remember relating to anything to do with the afterlife. You will burn in hell because you've done this, this, and this, and that's not a nice thing to hear.
It's not empowering, and actually that was why I was like, you know what, I'm not going to teach. Obviously, I'm going to teach my children about hell, but I want to teach them about paradise. I want to be positive.
That should be the key thing. That's the thing that should be talking about more,
I think
not
the
instilling
important thing
fear.
is that the Prophet ﷺ never spread Islam that way either.
Exactly.
He never told you that, if you don't join us, you're gonna.
Exactly.
It was always, no, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the way forward, and it was always in a positive light that you'll get this if you do this, you'll get this if you do this, or and I think it's culture, I guess, or it's that ease of, if I drive fear into you, then you'll do what I say, which was the culture back then, but isn't the culture now at all.
It's out of love and tenderness and being kind and that level of humility. And it's so important to, more so now, to do that. But it's also about our actions, as like you said, being an ambassador, having, setting an example in everything that we do. Folks, the show that you're listening to is the Urban Kube, 18 minutes past 11, and absolute pleasure to be joined by two very inspirational ladies that are helping me lead into International Women's Week. I mean, every day is International Women's Day, I think. The question I asked them before the break was, is there a one particular woman that inspires them, or a few? So starting off with Yasmin, is there anybody that inspires you?
There's a lot, but I settled on Aisha, radiallahu anha. This is the wife of the Prophet. She inspires me because I think when you think of Muslim women, you think of somebody timid, young, kind of, battered almost by that's the stereotype that we're given, but she's a very strong character, a bit like me. Strong character. She was a scholar in her own right, and just her spirit goes against what people assume that a Muslim woman is. Even after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, she was still a scholar given knowledge, and she quoted a lot of the hadith, and she's still very respected.
And it was the women of the time. It was the wives of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who actually were leading the way in sharing the narrative and the hadiths and everything that which was taught to them. And we forget that.
Exactly.
And it's these little tiny things, if we'd know more about them, gosh, it changes everything.
Yes, definitely. So she's definitely number one for me.
Wow. And I totally get that. And yourself, Saima?
I think, she's a really good one to have from the kind of historical sense, and to see, as one of the mothers of Islam. That's a really nice one to, she's a really nice person to look up to. I think in the current day and age, for me, my husband's going to tell me off for saying this, but Angelina Jolie for me has always stood out.
Really? That's so intriguing. I'm not going to say anything. I want to. Go ahead.
Not from the kind of acting perspective, but I think what she's done is she's elevated herself to a position of power in terms of financial status or whatever it is. But she's an ambassador for UNICEF. She's what she does across the world. It's quite interesting in how she uses her position to put voices out there. She now produces movies to give voices to young children in Cambodia or wherever else. And I think it's a nice thing to do, that you get yourself to a point where you can now influence others and influence them in a really positive way.
Interesting. I want to ask our listeners this morning, if there is somebody that inspires you, a female, do get in contact with us. Is it a woman in Islam? Or is it a present day female? And would love to find out from you. And how to do that is contact us on 07779 481822. On today's show, we've been talking about everything and anything under the sun, from motherhood to lipstick. Why not? They both can go hand in hand. But I'm also going to climate change is a very significant element to the Urban Kube. We talk about the climate change quite consistently across the shows, and so I was really quite intrigued by this following article that I came across, which actually is talking about prescribing houseplants for anxiety and depression. So when's the last time you bought yourself a house plant? Or do you have house plants in your home? Yasmin?
Well, no, because they die. I just look. I can't keep my kids alive and then plants as well. So when I buy plants, they just die within days. So I have artificial plants. I know they're not the most, eco-friendly, but I'm not capable of keeping them alive. So.
I love that. Plastic fantastic. Artificial plants, they last longer than the real thing. We'll go for the plastic
No maintenance,
stuff.
yeah.
No maintenance.
No maintenance.
What about yourself, Saima?
I'm not a plant person because, again, I kill them. And I don't know what it is because I water them, but they just die anyway. So it's just safer for them not to be around me. But my mother-in-law, she loves plants, so we have loads of plants around the house, and she maintains them, and they do bring colour in the house, and there is kind of a sense of zen. It's actually really nice. It just makes it. I think humans are automatically drawn to nature. So when you live in a brick building, that plant does bring you back to that deep-rooted connection that you have with nature, and I can imagine that it does bring you some sort of zen. And my mum's the same. She used to love gardening, and when she does it so well that it just looks peaceful. You need to have that kind of sight. Something nice to look at,
and it takes time and commitment.
Yeah.
And my mother, she's got green fingers. I don't know what I've got. I've got purple fingers because it's those plants ain't hanging around in my space. But it's something I want to do more of in the future, inshallah. That's like my vision, my dream.
That's
to
your
be
retirement
around
plan.
the environment, be in the garden, living in my shoe house with all the 6 children running around, and I've got my little garden patch. But it's a simple dream like that, and that's all I want. I just want to have that time to just focus
It's peaceful,
on
isn't it? Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can totally understand why doctors are prescribing it. And it's very interesting that art has been prescribed as well.
Yeah.
Going outdoors is being prescribed. It's the very simple things. I mean,
Yeah.
this
It's
is how
because we've lost all
society-
these things, isn't it? Like we're now just stuck in our phones. It's
Exactly.
I think of Patch Adams. I don't know if you've seen that movie where Robin Williams, he portrays a doctor who prescribed laughing, and he actually opened a practice where his primary medicine was just laughing, and he was, I think he was a qualified doctor, and he went and did this, and he found that it did boost. Obviously needed the help of medicines and things like that, but it did recover. They did recover a lot quicker or a lot better, or their lifestyle was a lot better than just medicines and beds and like tubes and things like that. But it's that kind of humans need those basic things, those very normal things, which unfortunately aren't normal anymore.
Which is really, really quite sad. Simplicity of life, human contact, just taking a step back and just allowing yourself to be.
Yeah.
We don't do that enough.
No.
We're not doing enough mindfulness.
We're not.
And maybe prayer enables that.
Yes.
Prayer. Would you agree, ladies?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah, definitely. And I think the good thing about prayer is, they talk about meditation and yoga and all of that. Actually, but it gives you that couple of minutes outside your busy day, whatever you're doing, to kind of just take
Ground
a moment.
yourself,
Yeah,
really
ground
earth
yourself.
yourself.
Even making sujood is kind of therapeutic in a
It's
way. Because,
humbling as well,
it's
isn't it?
humbling. Yeah.
I think if you go too far too fast, you just kind of feel this high. But then when you come back to your Lord and you realize, actually, I need to humble myself, and I'm doing this for a bigger reason than just money, than just whatever it is, fame and things. I think that really grounds you, and again, that gives you that longevity to keep going.
You've got a shout out from brother Bilal.
Oh, thank you, Bilal.
Hussein.
Bilal
You
is the
actually-
reason I'm here today.
Yeah, he put me in contact with you. So big shout out from him. Thank you, brother Bilal, for being a supporter of the show and introducing me
Yes,
to the very
thank
fabulous Saima. Thank you so very much for that. Now we're heading off to a break, guys. After the break, there's going to be a lot more conversation in the final half an hour of the show. And do enter the competition for the Mother Monologues to win some tickets. So join me straight after this. Assalamu alaikum.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to you. It is the final half an hour of the Urban Kube show with myself and the wonderful
Yasmin Egala.
and
Saima Siddiqui.
See, oh gosh, we should have done that in the beginning. You say your name so well. I wonder why, because they belong to you, right? Absolute pleasure having these amazing sisters joining me on the Urban Kube this morning, really inspiring me with their creative journeys of social entrepreneurship, from launching a eco-modest fashion online business that has been shortlisted for an award. Congratulations, Saima, for that.
Thank you.
And also the first of its kind, a children's Muslim book festival with lots of fun activities, but led by Yasmin as well. So congratulations on that, guys. Really, really exciting things. I want to ask you, Saima, how does it feel to be shortlisted now as a finalist for a business award?
It's really humbling. And it's quite, I'm in that kind of stage of, will I win, will I not win, what do I, and I've got an interview next week actually with them, which is kind of the round 2.
Okay.
And so round 1 was the business, and we've kind of submitted the application and they've asked all the questions, and now round 2 is I have to go speak to them.
Wow.
So I'm quite nervous, and it's the first time that we've done anything, and it's such a new brand. So for me, everything is so new, even coming to the radio station. But it's exciting to be recognised. It's really nice to see that the hard work that we're putting in is being noticed by someone, especially in the Islamic community, because we are doing this for us, for Muslims in this kind of Western Islamic world. And just to be appreciated for what we're doing is really nice.
What do you think having the award will do for the business or your future?
I think it'll definitely, from a personal point of view, it'll give me a boost, because it's almost, you need that recognition of, or that validation that, I trust my brand. I know my customers trust my brand, but now we need it on a bigger platform, and it's nice to kind of get that recognition from someone as big as Islam Channel. But also from a brand perspective, it's just going to open more doors, I guess. It's we're not just fashion, and that's why I really want to push forward, that it's not just about looking good, it's about feeling good because of the decisions that you've made. And I think that's what Islam Channel are hopefully recognizing in us, and I need that voice to be projected out.
Inshallah.
And I think that's, it'll definitely do that.
Do you think she's on for a win?
Definitely, definitely.
We've got some amazing, actually, competitors with us, so it'll be interesting to hear their stories as well. And let's see. May the best man win. May the best person win. Woman.
A woman.
But it's actually mixed. It's mixed.
Okay, but we want to say the best woman wins, because
yeah.
we're all about the women here, darling. But what advice could you give to anybody who's wanting to launch, say, a fashion brand or a startup company?
I think you need to have very strong values. Don't just do it for the fame, don't do it for the money, don't do it for that kind of superficial, because that will only last you a very short while. You need to have, there should be a problem in your mind that you're solving. And there should be, like I said, this isn't for me just a project where I needed clothes, therefore I launched a brand. It's more about, I need to change something. I need to leave that impact. I need to kind of inspire my children and say, actually, we didn't do this for the money, we did it because climate change is an issue, and I need to highlight that. And as a Muslim, I need to kind of do something about it. Or Muslim women need more representation. We need more access to clothes, or whatever it is, whatever your problem is. But make sure it has something deeper than the superficial level of, I'm a fashion brand following a trend. Be the mold, don't fit the mold. That kind of
Hashtag.
Be the mold.
That's
don't
my
fit
other
the
book
mold.
that I'm going to publish.
Yay! But I want to ask you, Saima, did you not ever feel a little bit scared? Because we're seeing more and more high street shops who've been in business for many a year closing down, and everything is now becoming online. So does that not worry you with the present economic climate as well, that you could have possibly been taking a huge risk?
It did, but I think there was a definite gap in the market for the product. We are an online brand anyway. And I think for me, it was all about balancing motherhood with managing this. So I made sure it was an online brand. And we already know the high street's closing, so there's no point in me investing in that anyway.
Of course.
And it's just so much easier to do it online.
Are you running it from home?
Yes.
And
So-
how big's your team?
Me, myself, and I. And my husband.
And your little baby?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we've got like a lot of family support, so I think I need to include them in this because we've got, for example, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my side, my cousins. There's so many people I reach out to for so many different things. But essentially, it does come down to my husband and myself and the baby. He does a lot. He travels with us everywhere we go.
Bless. And that's what makes it so great, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can actually take your child with you
Yeah.
if you are self-employed. If they are good and don't make a lot of noise and sit in the corner, and don't photobomb or video bomb your conference calls, as we've seen on
he's done
that story. Oh, that was so hilarious. Coming to you, Yasmin, and the same questions that I've asked Saima, advice that you could give to any potential authors out there.
Just do it. Take action and do it. And your story is worthy to be out in the world, because I think that's a fear that we all feel, and who will listen. But just do it. Don't overthink it. Start writing and call out to people that you know have done it before. And just do it, because we need more of the stories out there.
Yeah.
So your publishing journey, how easy was it for you to get from the words to the paper to print?
I would say I winged it the whole time. It's not like... so I had an idea and I just started writing. I didn't even know what publishing would look like, and every step of the way I called out to people that I knew had done it, and kind of learned along the way. So it's been a long journey where I've learned quite a steep learning curve, because aside from writing, and you have to get somebody to illustrate it if it's a children's picture book, and publishing, so I self-published, and then deciding on the printers and advertising, marketing. But it's worth it. It's worth it to see my book out there in the world.
Mashallah. May it continue. Will you be talking about your book at the Muslim Children's Book Festival?
Yes, I will be. It'll be on sale, and I'll be there talking about my journey as well.
Oh, mashallah. Tell us one more time, how can people get to this event, and what are the socials for it?
Okay, so you can find us on Facebook, Tiny Mu'mins. So if you just tiny space Mu'mins, our page is there. You can also go on our website, www.tinymu'mins.com, and you can get tickets there for the 8th of March, Rumi's Cave, 1 till 4.
And because we can't plug your brand because that's advertising, but what I want to say is, how can people get in contact with you, Saima?
So we're on Facebook and Instagram, Be and Humble, and you can also buy straight direct from us on our website, www.beandhumble.com.
Okay, fantastic, which we did do, but hey, no worries. And also your other work that you're doing, your charity work as well. Do you continue that? Because you're the head of head of design for Charity Week. So when does that happen?
Everything happens when the baby is asleep. So I think one thing as a mum you learn to do is just time keep, and every moment is so precious when you have a baby. So he's got his schedule, and it doesn't always go according to plan, but mostly it does. And I think with kids, if you give them what they want and what they need, so whether it's entertainment, food, whatever it is, they then respond better. So there are days where if I'm not giving him that attention, whether it's reading a book, playing, he'll fight back a bit, or he'll be a bit more cranky. But I know it's because I just haven't given him what he needs. So mostly, we'll have a structure where daytime, me and him, we go out, we do our kids' activities and things like that. Then he has a good nap, and that's my time to do me and do Charity Week, do Be and Humble, whatever it is.
And does that give you a lovely work-based balance, as in for your mental health as well? Because seems to be, I saw an article that said the hardest job is being a stay-at-home mum, and just focusing entirely on that makes it it actually does impact the mother's health. It
depends on your personality, to be honest, because there's somebody I follow on YouTube, and I used to get tips from her, on how she's got 3 sons. But her life is about maintaining the home, and that's what she finds passion in. That's what she enjoys, and she makes YouTube videos on how I keep the house clean with 3 kids and things like that. Yeah, so but I guess her outtake would be her YouTube channel, and that's her kind of me time,
her outlet.
So I think everyone needs an outlet, whether that's a job, whether that's something like a creative something, whether it's painting, anything. But I think it's important to find that me time.
So for you, Yasmin, what's your me time?
Do you know what? Going to work is actually quite good, because you can speak to adults, because that's one thing. I was at home for a bit when I had my children, but yeah. Reading, I love to read, and I also like to go out. I'm quite a social butterfly, so I love theatre, so I'll definitely be coming to the theatre production. I love theatre. I just love to see, live acting. I like going to the cinema. I just like socialising.
So what makes you curious about going to see the Mother Monologues? Why would you want to go and watch that, do you think?
Because I think it'll be real, authentic. I'm looking forward to the realness that we're going to experience when we go there and we hear from these mothers and their real stories. And I think I'll be able to relate to, if not some, but all of it. I'm really excited to hear that.
Wow. That kind of gives me, takes me to the competition, the Mother Monologues competition. If you'd fancy winning a free ticket to go and attend the production, then you need to tell me what is the title, the full title of the Mother Monologues play. WhatsApp us on 07779 481 Now, if you're listening in from Sheffield or Peterborough this morning, you can enter too. The Hat Factory in Luton is where it's been showcased. It's March the 6th at 7:30 on the Friday, and it's a production that is set in a coffee shop where mothers are sharing their journeys whilst drinking a cup of coffee and tea. The title of the play is called Life Happens, Coffee Helps. And I want to ask my lovely ladies, you know what? When you want to just have a bit of respite, do you like a bit of a natter and a bit of coffee and tea with friends? Does that help?
It depends. I think it depends on how my week has been, because my week is quite full of, we have, my side and my husband's side are quite big, so we have a lot of socials. So sometimes I just want a cup of tea, my kind of TV, and the door's closed.
Just that, simple as that.
Something as simple. Sometimes it's, you just need to see your sisters. So you just plan a day out, and it depends on the kind of how the week has been. If it's been a quiet week, then I have to get out. If it's been a busy week, I need to just go in my cave.
Bless you. Go in your cave. I like that. For me, it's a cupboard. With 5 locks.
Oh, my days.
And the inside has the code, security code, you know, because when they start knocking on that door, bless you. I love my kids, I do, I promise you, she says. Okay, Yasmin, what about you? Me time, coffee, conversations?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Tea and natter is definitely me. Slice of cake, Victoria sponge, grey tea.
Talking my language.
Yes, you know, meet up with somebody, have a good old chat. That is, you know, rejuvenating for me.
Oh, nice. Just letting go, forgetting that you've got some whinging children at home. No, we love kids. We do. I promise you, we do. Guys, it's 11:42. It's the Urban Kube show with myself, Shemiza, and
Yasmin Egala.
Saima Siddiqui.
I love that. These lovely ladies are keeping me company on the show today. We've been talking fashion, we've been talking books, we've been talking cake. It can't get better than that, right? So, but we're also talking giveaways, and we were giving away the Mother Monologue show tickets on today's show as well. And we're also going to roll over the competition for next Monday too. So the title of the play is Mother Monologue's Life Happens, Coffee Helps. And we're asking you, what is the play? I'm giving it away, people. I'm in that type of mood this morning because I've had coffee. The show you're listening to is the Urban Kube. The repeat of the show will be 8 p.m. this evening, and you can catch all the conversations on Facebook Live. We are live streaming at the moment. Thank you for the folks that have been connecting with us this morning, all the way from Bangladesh. We've got some listening in from Bangladesh. Assalamu alaikum to you as well, and thank you for tuning in. Now, Saima and Yasmin, Saima, you've come all the way from London, but I understand that your family in America are listening in to you.
So my parents are in America at the moment, so they're doing they're my ambassadors over there.
Wow.
We've got my husband doing the whole UK. I've just looked at my WhatsApp and he's just messaged every possible group that we're in.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. What about you, Yasmin? You need to kind of like up the game a little bit.
I need to get my family back in Ghana to, you know, listen in.
That's it. Yeah, beyond Milton Keynes, darling.
So, come on, guys.
Show us a bit of love. But what's really beautiful is the fact that, you know, we're hearing a potential collaboration here. Sisterhood is so needed in these times. And have you found sisterhood in your work that you're doing? Are you finding it easy connecting with other women? What we find on social media is I'm always hearing that, you know, women are knocking women, bringing women down. There isn't enough sisterhood, but I've seen the opposite.
I think nowadays there's a lot more sisterhood. I mean, the thing is, everyone's different. Some people want to collaborate, some won't. But I think generally I've had positive experiences with collaboration. I have.
I think even in the community, you see a lot more women just coming together to support certain causes. And I think we inspire each other in different ways. So it's nice to see women kind of coming together.
And I'm loving the uniqueness. Everybody is doing something slightly different, which is wonderful to see. And we're seeing a lot more businesses from the home. We're seeing a lot more women working from the home too, which is really interesting to see like cottage industries
Yeah.
being created. So that's really, really inspiring. Folks, it's 11:45 and you're listening to the Urban Kube. We've been talking about lots of interesting stories across the show, from native English speakers, fall behind children, of immigrants in doing GCSE maths, which is really interesting, from prescribing houseplants for anxiety and depression. We also talked about Netherlands making trains free on a National Book Day for those who show a book instead of a ticket. And we've also talked about everything and anything related to mum and mumpreneurs. This is a new word that I'm hearing more and more. And it really makes me smile when I hear that, because when we think of mums, we just think of, okay, it's just focusing on the home. And there has been a kind of a lot of, I'm not going to use the term stigma, but a lot of stereotyping of mums that just stay at home, have it easy. But we know it's not that easy, is it?
No.
And also, there should be a choice. If you want to be a mum, looking after your children, that's all you want to do, then you should be allowed to just get on with that. Would you agree with that, ladies? We're all very different.
No, definitely. I would say when I went back to work when my son was 1, I think about 9 years ago, I think there was a bit of a mummy war. So the stay-at-home mums versus the working mums is always one or the other. But I think nowadays people are respecting people's choices, and there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Like you said, Saima, it depends on you, what your vision is and who you are. Some people need to get out of the house, some people don't. And it's okay, we can all be great mums, whether we're working mums or stay-at-home mums. I also think staying at home is actually really difficult. I don't know why people say it's easy. It's easier to go to work for me than to be at home.
I think when you're at home, you have to manage your own time.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a skill.
Wow.
Then when you've got however many children, school runs, clubs,
Yeah.
like I look at the women around me and I think she has to clean that house, and it's a huge house. She's got different kids in different schools, different age groups, and they have to pick and drop and then strategically find parking and like all those stories, and then like the lunches and wherever else. That in itself is a job. That's a huge job, and I think it's so underappreciated and very undervalued. And I think we need to show so much respect to women who give their life to raise their children, because that is our future. And again, like you said, it's about respecting people's decisions. Some women frown upon you sent your kid to preschool or wherever it is, but it's your own choice, it's your own life. You know what's best for your family, and as a mum, you'd never make a decision without considering your children. So, and for me, this is between me and my family. This is between you and your family. And what you've chosen, you know best. And what I've chosen is best for us.
Definitely.
It's just about respect, I think.
And it does go undervalued,
Very
I
much.
think. And we don't realise how much... I'm now a parent, and I realise how much my mum actually had to do for me. And I really appreciate her sacrifices.
I think you don't realise it until you're in it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like exhausted from just even thinking about it, thinking about what I've got to go back to at home, all the cleaning, and how do you manage your cleaning? What are the tips that you could give to me, because my house is totally upside down.
I would say I do it as I go along. I don't know, I feel like my house doesn't stay clean for, some people clean once a week and it stays clean. No, I have to constantly clean because my children would just make a mess, and I feel like I'm
children
clean.
But I'm of the notion of, I think before I used to just constantly be cleaning something, but then that just takes up all your time and you're not doing anything else. So I think you just have to have a bit of routine. So, one day would be downstairs, one day is upstairs, and then the rest of the week, just leave it. It's fine. You have to pick up the toys and things like that. But the vacuuming, I don't need to do it every day. I don't need to do dusting just have your routine and then make your peace with the rest, especially if you've got kids.
And sometimes, children need to create messes.
It's
a
fine.
learning
It's part
thing
of
for them, and it's about childhood. I just wish I had a cleaner.
Yeah.
To pick up.
A living clean.
A living cleaner. There was this big trend about minimalism. Get rid of everything in your house and just have an empty house. And that is also something that can coincide with like your wardrobe as well, like fashion. Having a capsule wardrobe rather than following
definitely.
trends. Is that something you could relate to or talk to us a bit about?
It's actually something I'm working towards. So I did do I regularly clear out my wardrobe, and I make sure that the pieces I have are pieces I wear. And sometimes people gift you things, or sometimes so obviously your wardrobe does build up even if you're not shopping. But you have to make sure that all the pieces that you've hidden at the back, that they come forward and you actually really recognize what is in my cupboard. Because sometimes you buy things and then you realize, actually, I've already got that. Or I should have used that instead of, I don't need that pair of trousers because I already had this and I could make this work. And I think we live in such an age where anything goes. There isn't, although there is, fashion trends and things that are going, you could really make your own thing. And we live in such a diverse kind of community that everything works. So I think you have to really play around and really get creative with what you have before you go out and buy extra things,
because the amount of clothes that are not worn can exceed up to £10,000 per year. I'd read, the amount of clothes that you'd bought but you've actually not worn at the back of your wardrobe. So it's actually really, we could save so much money if we're not drawn into this need and desire to have the next best look. And I've tried, and tips and advice I've always kind of followed is go to charity shops, do a bit of a swap shop. There's lots of swap shops that are kind of being set up at the moment where people can swap their clothes with somebody else's clothes, and I think that's a great idea.
That's a good idea.
Recycling, upcycling, things like that are so important because again, you're just reducing that waste. If you throw it away, or if you're not using it to its maximum, it's actually just impacting the world in another way. And I think it's so important to find these other avenues, and they are coming up. These are new trends, I wouldn't say trends, but they're more value-led projects that people are establishing, that actually this is how you should be thinking. This is another option that you have apart from throwing it out. And even things like, we do this, so I've got a 2-year-old, my sister-in-law has a 1.5-year-old, and I've got, cousins around. So I've got my husband's sister, for example, she'll always save the best pieces of her son's clothes and give them to us. Or between the cousins, they all share clothes.
Cool.
And it's it's nice because it's got sentimental value. That's from his cousin, or that's from so-and-so. And, even yesterday I was talking to my sister-in-law, I said, I've got spare nappies because my son's grown out of them. Does your son fit? You just kind of share things. And toys, kids, although they get bored of toys, if you put it away, I swapped with my sister-in-law, and then 6 months later I bought it back, and now for my son it's a whole new toy. It's like, no, you had this when you were
you've just got to be smart. And it's about being smart and accepting. It's a mindset, isn't it? Accepting it's okay to do this and sticking by it. And that's the thing, we don't stick by things like they used to in the olden days because it was no choice but to. You were limited by what access you had to money and just resources. So our parents were very stringent. Now I just feel that we have access to so much. We're not as strict with ourselves. And I think I'm failing on that part. I think I could budget better. I think I could save better. I think I could upcycle better. But it's a learning curve. With Ramadan coming, alhamdulillah, it's not far away. Do you think there is going to be another drive for Muslims to be a bit more conscientious around green issues?
I think we shouldn't wait for Ramadan. It should just be, these are current issues that are happening every single day. And they're so part of Islam that we should just be celebrating them and talking about them and discussing them. And, you look at the new mosques that are being made and the eco-masjids and things like that. So we are getting there. And no community, no organization, even my own brand, it's not perfect. And I think we shouldn't be pushing people and saying, oh, you're not perfect, you're not good enough. It's, you took a step in the right direction, well done. Now let's take another step, let's take another step. So I think we should continue to do that. And I think Ramadan for Muslims tends to be like New Year's resolution. That's kind of our New Year's for us, you just cleanse yourself. So it's definitely a good time to kind of really think.
We saw more of a green deen across Ramadan, plastic free, more conscientious eating less meat, being a little bit more ethical in the way we are, in the practical sense. I want to ask Yasmin, do you think it might be inspiring a green eco children's story maybe?
Yes, I'm thinking about it as we're talking. I'm like, So my mind's working, guys. Watch this space.
Hey, watch this space. But it's been a pleasure having you, accommodating this space today on the Urban Kube. An absolute pleasure. Thank you so very much, Sister Yasmin, for joining us, and thank you, Sister Saima, as well. An absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
So, folks, do check out the Muslim Children's Book Festival, and Be Humble is the brand that Sister Saima's been talking to us about, and it's been a very, very insightful morning with you ladies. We've got 27 seconds. Anything you want to say?
Hope to see you at the Muslim Children's Book Festival. Tell your friends to tell your friends and tell your family friends too.
Love it, love it.
And definitely, if you have an idea, I think it's what we were saying, that just celebrate yourself and really just go for it.
Mashallah, go for it. That's what we like to hear. And from me, I'm going for it. I'm going to grab myself a cuppa in a cup, not a plastic one. And join me again next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We stream our daily broadcast on inspirefm.org. You'll find all our daily updates on our social media at Inspire FM Luton.